On this day, February 2nd, the seer of seers, prognosticators of prognosticators. Did you ever hear that speech? I mean, over and over again. I've heard it on the movie over and over again, but that is exactly how they open the speech in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
They do. You want to hear it?
Hold on. Wait, you muted out a second. What was that?
I said, y'all want to hear it? Because I do have it.
You have it?
I do.
Wait. Before you do that, all right, remember, we are broadcasting live on YouTube and Facebook. I don't need another shutdown because of the fact that we violated somebody's copyrights.
It is there. Okay, so this I got it from, I will tell you. This is the groundhog.org. It's the official website of Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And they are the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club that was established in 1887.
Yes.
And they have it on their front page, the 2025 prediction, if you want to call it a prediction.
Wait a minute. Let's just show the page without playing the video.
Well, I wasn't going to play the video. I was just going to read it.
Okay, I was going to say read it, but we can also show the page. Anyway, why don't you read it? Let's.
Okay.
I don't feel like playing the copyright game tonight.
No, it's fine.
And it's not fun.
No, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers and the prognosticator of all prognosticators, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in Groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, what a way to start a Sunday fun day. You always said you'd make it here one day, to this place, barely big enough to contain y'all, to this sweet Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. We're all here with the elements combined, where Mother Nature meets Father Time. To hear the truth, is that a gray sky? Only I know. You can't trust AI. It's Groundhog Day, and maybe life is on a loop, but I miss my burrow. I miss my coop. So I'm headed back down. There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks
of
this year.
So, if you watch the movie Groundhog Day, that was the same thing that happened that year, because every year it's predicted different. All right. And by all means, you have to watch the movie, which if you watch last year's episode, we actually referenced a drink that was referenced in the movie. It was an awful drink, but we referenced it anyway.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I almost wanted to do the other drink that he mentioned in the movie, but we didn't. We're doing something different, because the other drink, do you remember what the other drink in the movie was?
You know what? I just looked at my notes and
Jim Beam.
Oh, yes.
Ice. It goes Jim Beam, ice, water. Yeah, I mean, basically.
And I think I might still have some Jim Beam here in the.
I have one thing of Jim Beam, and it's a black cherry, and I use it for like making recipes. I very rarely drink the black cherry, but I bought it for an episode a couple of years, a year or so, about half a year back, and I just don't drink it for anything else. It's like a lot of the stuff I have on my shelf, I end up giving to my wife and saying, go ahead, finish this, because I don't drink it that often.
Right.
I am kind of set in my ways. There's very few things that I experiment with outside the show. Right.
Right. We experiment on the show all the time, in case y'all didn't realize it by now.
Yeah.
So we have 2 drinks for you today, but before we get it, do you want to get into the drinks and then some of the history?
I want to go with the food, because the food this time, it was a unique angle we went at with it.
Yes.
Because of the fact that, first of all, we're having 2 drinks that are going to be based on what the outcome was.
Yes.
Well, our food, we decided to go with Pennsylvania favorites, because Punxsutawney Phil is from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
So, being from Philadelphia, we of course had to go with
a Philly cheesesteak.
A Philly cheesesteak, which you've got yours from Black Bear, I believe. I made mine.
No. For once, sorry, Black Bear, I actually changed it up. Boston's here in Wilsonville, and my buddy Jose, he made the sandwich and with the salad that normally comes with chips, not fries, chips. So they normally do it that way. It's got all the fixins. I mean, there's mushrooms in there and bell peppers and cheese. It's supposed to be provolone, although it looks like it's cheddar in my opinion. But so it's got all the fixins. And so I decided to go with Boston's. My run club ran from there last Wednesday. So I thought, hey, let's try something different. So that is the Philly cheesesteak with a side salad instead of chips.
Well, I went with the cheesesteak because I made it myself. I chopped my onions. I put my beef in the pan. All right. Fried it up. And, I will, I didn't get like the authentic Philly roll. I've got a Bordeaux, I think it's Bordella roll.
Oh, right. Bolillo, the Mexican bolillo.
Yep. But I did something that is actually it's like a huge discussion. Should it be or shouldn't it be on a Philly cheesesteak? And that is Cheese Whiz. No. There are people who, I did it with it. It's good. No. There are people who swear it tastes better. And I get it. You can play the game, but it is a debate in Philadelphia as well as to whether it's better.
So are you going to do half of it with and half of it without?
No. I did the whole thing with it because I only made one steak. I didn't make two, but I also have my pretzels because soft pretzels are something that I always got on the streets in Philadelphia. I love them. Now, regular mustard, but I was going to use the cheese on the pretzels. But I did something else for mine, though, because speaking of Pennsylvania, I'm going to have ketchup on mine. Ketchup on my cheesesteak. But there's only one kind of ketchup. If you're doing Pennsylvania, what would you get?
Heinz.
It's from Pennsylvania. Anyway, I know I went weird on I grew up there, guys. All right. Pennsylvania is where I grew up. So I kind of know a lot of unique traditions.
Yes. And one of them, which if we had thought about it sooner, we would have gotten some scrapple, but it was going to be like 2 weeks to get it delivered. And I was going to make it, but it's an overnight thing. You cannot make it the same day. And I have been so busy, just go, that I was supposed to make it Saturday and I didn't make it. And then on Sunday was a crazy day. I went up to the mountain, got practically stuck coming back down the mountain after snowshoeing. It should have been an hour and a half drive. It took close to 3 hours. It was just bad. We got weather. And at that point, I'm like, and I had dinner plans and with my friends. And I was like, you know what? I am not going to have to deal with this at that point. I still had some homework to finish. And so I was like, forget it. Philly cheesesteak is where it's at. So that's why.
We will do scrapple on our show someday.
Yeah.
Someday, because it's a very unique food from a very unique part of the country.
Yes. And I did print out the recipe. It's sitting on my counter at home. Yeah. It's there. There's an easier way to make it. But it's still an overnight process, and it's still a thing. So there are a couple of cocktails that we have. Let's go through those cocktails.
I know you have the recipe cards up, or no? Are you just gonna?
So the recipe. Let me. Well, we could go to drcork.com, quick cocktail, if you want. He does a great job of mixing it. But there are two, Saw His Shadow and Go Groundhog Go. So there's two of them. I'm going to put it.
Since we're going to do Saw His Shadow tonight, because of the fact that that's what he did, let's read off the Go Groundhog Go first. Okay. And then we'll read off the other one and say why the difference is.
Okay. So Saw His Shadow, you're going to have, and they both have the same ingredients, which is the fun part. Yeah. So Saw His Shadow is 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of simple syrup, 2 shakes of ground cinnamon, a half an ounce of lemon juice, 1 dash of Angostura bitters, which I cannot find, so I've had aromatic with me, and then 3 ounces of boiling water, and then you garnish it with an orange half wheel. So that's Saw His Shadow.
Yeah, and that's the one we're going to make tonight because the fact he saw his shadow. The other one is very interesting because read off the ingredients. It's
Go Groundhog Go, 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of simple syrup, 2 shakes of ground cinnamon, a half an ounce of lemon juice, 1 dash Angostura bitters, but instead of hot water, you are putting 2 ounces of club soda, and you still garnish with the orange half wheel. My thought is, I was planning on making them both. So
I'm not. I'm only gonna do the one that is
saw his shadow.
saw his shadow. That's the one I planned for. I didn't plan for the other one.
But one of the things, since you mentioned Black Bear Diner, even though I did not get my sandwich at Black Bear Diner, guess my mug. I still have my my Black Bear mug. Yes, and so I'm gonna use the Black Bear for my cocktail. So
I guess I should say which mug I'm using here at that point.
Yes, let's see your mug. I want to see your mug.
So I'm going to use this mug. All right, you have one of these, right? This Rock Your Life mug?
No, I don't. How do I not have one of those?
Wait a minute. Craig Duswalt did not give you a Rock Your Life mug.
No.
I think we need to call Craig Duswalt out on this and say, Craig, I think you need to send the show a Rock Your Life mug.
Yes, I think so, because I would use it. What I do have,
considering the show was conceived at a Rock Your Life mastermind,
it was.
I would think that Rock Your Life should be gifting us mugs.
Yes, I think so. I like the way you think, just like I like the way you drink. So I got a t-shirt one of the times we were at this mastermind, got the t-shirt. The t-shirt was like, I think in large or an extra large, way too big for me. It was black and it had the Rock Your Life. And so what I did is that I turned it into a skirt. And I wore it to one of the events, and I was the first name he drew, and I got $100 bill. So I went up on stage all excited, and I had to show him my skirt that said "Rock Your Life" on the front.
I kind of thought you looked sexy in that skirt, girl. I'm just saying.
Oh, it was so long ago. I don't think you even remember.
I do.
But it was a cute skirt. It was like it was modeled after another skirt my mama had made for me that I still have and I love it. It was like shorter on one side and then went long on the other, and it was black with the Rock Your Life. So I have that, and of course I still have my Rock Your Life white t-shirt, but I wanted to make it out of the black. So that's where that came from. So and today I am going. So what gin are you going to use?
Actually, the gin I'm using is I actually have a gin that I got from Boot Hill.
Okay,
Distillery. We got it a couple years back. It's in Kansas, Dodge City, Kansas.
Show it to me again.
All right, Dodge City, Kansas. That Gwen and I visited there a couple years ago. I had some of it left, and I'm like, I've got a half a bottle close to it, so I wanted to use some of this tonight. And it is. I have a couple things from there, but that's one of the things I still have left. But
so for once, I'm not doing a Portland. I have like 3 or 4 Portland gins, but I'm going to go with the Botanist.
Oh.
This was the first gin that I tried that I liked, and I'm not a gin drinker, so I'm going to go with this. This is handcrafted in the island of Inslee, so it's 100% grain neutral spirit. So this one is a gin. The Botanist is a gin of layered complexity, progressive exploration of the botanical heritage of our Isle of Inslee. 9 classic gin botanicals are augmented in 22 local herbs and flowers for aged responsibly and by hand from the hills, shores, and bogges of this fertile Herbidian island by our own professional forager. The result is a roller coaster botanical odyssey in a glass. So Scotland, in case you all didn't know. What I love is that raised, that it's just beautiful. The first time I went to look for it at the liquor store, I'm like, okay, I tasted it. It's this gin, and it's in a bottle. You can feel and see, because of course when I tasted it, I had to touch the bottle. I do that a lot at bars. I'm like, can I borrow the bottle? Because I want to, it's amazing how many bottles I can actually see from afar without being able to see. I can say, oh, they have this, this, and this without being able to read the label. So they're like, oh, I think it's Botanist. So that's why it's Botanist 22. So this is what I'm going to be using today.
So I went up while we were talking. Wow. Yeah, that'll warm you up.
There you go. It's, I
think the cinnamon, I think I went a little strong on the cinnamon.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful with the cinnamon.
Yeah, I think.
Remember remember when they were doing those cinnamon challenges, the kiddos, they had nothing better to do. And so they were trying to inhale cinnamon and then winding up in the emergency room.
Yeah.
Don't do that, y'all. It's not good for you. So put this down. And what I loved about it is that there was 2 cocktails with the exact same ingredients. Only, of course, one was boiling water. The other one was club soda.
So club soda, yeah.
And if you wanted a little bit sweeter,
also, I assume you would put ice into it.
yes, and I have, and then my cinnamon is oh, here it is. I had to run home to get my cinnamon because I forgot it. I just did one little tap, so I just tapped it. Ooh, I can smell it all the way up here.
Yeah, the cinnamon is the overpower on the drink.
Yes, and then the lemon juice, and I actually have fresh lemon, y'all, which I know, surprising for me because I'm like usually the one that's saying it. So we're gonna do that. And a lot of people, when you are using your juicer, most people put it this way. You don't put it this way. You put it the opposite way, y'all. So skin side up, not down, so that when it squeezes right out. So keep that in mind when you are using one of these little doohickeys at home. And that is a 1/2 ounce. So we'll see how much.
Let's acknowledge some of our comments here. Mark wants to know what should you drink if you're watching your Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl? It's only fitting that we have a cheesesteak here and the Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl. Just saying.
Right.
All right, because we want them to win and not those Chief guys.
Yeah, just don't tell Craig. Oh, is Craig our mastermind person a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Craig is a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan.
I sent him a picture with, I had a big ring, one of the last Super Bowl wins. And I said, look what I came across. And of course, hi, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Of course, the ring was so big. It was like, it was covering up my entire, 3 fingers. And he says, yeah, I got one of those. So it's just kind of fun to be able to wear just because why not? Okay, so here's my orange. I am making such a mess of my desk, y'all.
I know it's a messy drink to make, and then I just stirred it.
Yeah,
you don't shake a hot drink.
Right. No, I stirred my, and I have my cutesy little. So I will say though, it would look a lot prettier if it was. And I do have my cute little cups that are my mama's, but nothing like a mug when you're drinking a hot drink.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
so Mark also is a Geno's with the Wiz fan. So Mark, okay. There's 2 types of cheesesteak people in Philadelphia. They're the Pat's people and the Geno's people. I'm the Pat's person. I love Pat's, not Geno's. And it's usually, but both of them actually I think both of them now make the recipe. But originally, one was one recipe, one was the other. Now they just make them in different flavors. And yeah, and they're just 2. And actually, they're literally, if you look them up on the street, they're like right across from each other.
Okay. The things y'all know that I don't. That was like a foreign.
Portland, you'd tell me about it.
Right. That is very true. No. I got to get a picture here and see what. There we go. These are going to be fun pictures, and I have not even touched my food yet. I am looking forward to how delicious this Philly cheesesteak is going to be. I think this is an eagle that I'm about to eat. A Philly eagle. Oh, I think I'm going to hear that one from Mark. I think I'm going to he's going to unfriend me now.
Mm-hmm. I'm finding my cheesesteak really good. Again, my drink got a little spice to it, so I got to watch.
Okay. This goes very well together. This is a very delicious cocktail. I like this one better than last year's drink. Absolutely. The lemon and the orange just goes so well. It completely.
For those who watched last year's show, if you could actually put in the comments what you think last year's drink was.
Oh my goodness, that was I don't think I finished mine. I think I barely tasted it and went, oh, this is so not good. How do you drink that stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were even watching the movie yesterday going, that's really not a drink.
Oh.
It's like a combination of things you put in a drink.
Well, the thing is that sometimes Vesper in James Bond, it's actually, the drink itself is not that good, but they've perfected it, changed it up in order to make it taste good. But the original is actually not a very good drink. So just like our drink on Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Anyway.
Salad, it didn't blend as well. There is ranch dressing instead of Thousand Island. I think the Thousand Island would have fared better. The taste of the lettuce with the ranch along with the drink, it clashes.
Yeah.
That creaminess just does not go well. I think the Thousand Island would have gone a little bit better because it would have had more of a depth in there. I think it would have gone better. But when it comes to the Philly cheesesteak, this drink is absolutely delicious. It's definitely a winter drink.
No, I've had mine with for sauces. I've used a spicier sauce, combination of ketchup, sriracha, which makes. I mean, I've tried it with the Louisiana sauce, not the same. The sriracha works better because it's more of a pasty. All right, you want a pasty, not a too runny. In the Louisiana sauce will make it really runny.
Yeah, you don't want runny. I don't care for runny on a sandwich. I just no.
This sandwich does not need runny because it's a mess. As it is, it's a mess. I have a backup napkin today because it's a messy sandwich.
This one, I have the paper one. About the botanist is that it is not very junipery.
Yeah.
And even if it were a little junipery, the simple syrup, the bitters, the lemon, and just the orange slice, it would tone it down. So Trail Distilling, they make one that's more citrus forward. I really like that one because it doesn't have that junipery. They have one that it is that those herbs are forward tasting, but their citrus one is more citrus forward. So the herbs are there, but they're kind of secondary and they're not primary. And the botanist just has a great way of crafting it to where the herbs are there. You can drink it by itself. And I thought, you know what? I think that's what I want. Because there was other, like I said, I have other gins. One of them, and I did not want to put this one in there because it's a lavender flavored. And I was like, well, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So I ran home. I'm like, where's my gin? And of course, 3 of the bottles are up here. And I'm like, no, I want the botanist. That was like tucked away, hiding away from myself.
But I'm really thinking, though, this drink would be good with the club soda cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because, all right, I'm thinking it's just a little bit more flavorful gin and tonic. It's a gin and tonic with a little bit of more zest to it.
That is very true. Especially because those bitters are just going to kick it up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
And then the orange wheel, there's a different citrus in there.
Of course, we chose food this week that is chewy. Things that are tough to do on a show where you eat and drink.
And talk.
And talk, yeah.
Yeah. So there is history behind Groundhog Day. Did you know there was history behind Groundhog Day? Besides the movie?
Didn't.
Well, there is. A lot of history. So, and of course, I'm going to share it because, hello, why wouldn't I? But Groundhog Day, there's things that sometimes come up that I'm like, how is this a thing? But it has been drawing the attention of thousands of faithful followers that go to Gobbler's Knob each year, that now they have all these other events that are leading up to Groundhog Day, including a ball and a banquet. So it's just funny. But Punxsutawney in 1886 was when it was the first time that Groundhog Day appeared in the local newspaper. And then they became the following trek to, people started to come there year after year. And of course, it's increased. But originally, there was a holiday of the Candleman's Day that was associated with the current celebration, which I did not know. But the roots are even older than that. It started on February 2nd with the folks taking the candles to the churches to have them blessed. And then they felt they would bring blessing to their household the remaining winter. And so as time went on, then there was an English folk song that transitioned with the weather. They were talking about that if it was going to be fair and bright, or if it was going to be winter or another flight. And it's like, bring us cloud or rain, or go winter and don't come back again. So it's talking about, are we going to end our winter? Or are we going to, continue on? But then that interpretation of the Candleman Day became the norm in a lot of Europe. And but there was no animal associated with it in the song. And then the Germans, they're the ones who introduced the lore, hence another evolution of February 2nd. And according to the German lore, the hedgehog saw his shadow on Candleman's Day. And so then it would be the second winter, or 6 more weeks of bad weather. And then when the German settlers came to the U.S., they came with those traditions and folklore. And with the absence of hedgehogs here in the U.S., then a similar hibernating animal was chosen that led to the evolution of Punxsutawney Phil, Groundhog. So now it started back in the 1800s, but it does break up the monotony of winter, at least for a little while. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of fun to get to know a little bit of the history of Groundhog Day, because there's always history over everything. It's just so funny how we can turn it around and do something different, including have a movie made about Groundhog Day, which was supposedly over a 34-year period is what it essentially took. It took him that long to learn his lesson. I know.
But he came back in 2020 to introduce the new Jeep.
Mm.
Which to me was one of the greatest commercials that Super Bowl was the year they came out with the Jeep Gladiator.
No. There were some people that were confused about the commercial. I remember there was a whole confusion around it.
Oh, man, sorry. Hold on a second. That won't in. I got to do other stuff.
Dr. Pepper?
All right, my Dr. Pepper on backup. I finished my water already. So what they did with the commercial was, because it was a monotonous thing, you know what I mean? He was day after day after day. Well, they show a lot of the same scenes, the same town. And what he does is, in the movie, he takes the groundhog for a ride in the old pickup truck. Well, in the movie, or in the commercial, he comes out and he goes, wait a minute, that's different. You know what I mean? Because it was a Jeep Gladiator sitting there on the street. I'm going to go and try that out. So then it shows him renewing every day, taking the groundhog for a ride every day. And that's what he did in the commercial.
Mm.
But Stephen is it Tolbert?
Mm-hmm.
Tolbert that actually revived his role of Ned, Ned the insurance guy. So
I was going to say the insurance guy. Oh my goodness. I remember Ned because I'm in insurance, so it's just funny.
No.
You know, the insurance guy grew.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't sell a policy if his life depended on it, and yet he got better at it. The more we do it, sometimes we just need a little bit of encouragement. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned about the Groundhog Day movie. You know, it's just we have to look into it and not just see it as a monotonous day after day, same thing after same thing day.
when that movie came out, truthfully, I was at a point in time in my life where I was really struggling. I was working a mundane job, barely paying the bills, and trying to build a business on the side. I really was. I mean, it's me trying to build one of my first businesses on the side. That movie came out, and that was about the time. I mean, back then we used to have to rent the movie from Blockbuster or whatever local. I don't remember. It was a Blockbuster. It was just a local movie store we did. I remember renting that movie, and each time I'd rent it, I'd watch that thing probably 30 times.
Wow.
It was a huge thing for me because I adapted it to life, going, okay, on the positive side, if you do the same thing over and over again, you'll be really good at it. Remember when he started the piano lessons, right? You do something over and over again, you can become really good at it. So like, okay, what habits do I install to learn things? The bad, all right. You know, he's sitting in the bowling alley, one of the first early on scenes with the two guys in town. All right. And he goes, well, what would you do if you were stuck in the same place and nothing ever changed and life was just the same no matter what you did? The guy's just shots going, well, that about sums it up for me, you know, like, because like so often we get caught in the habits that keep us in a place that we don't want to be. When it's good habits that will get us out of that. And I took a lot of life lessons from it. And then, I mean, I think there's a part of me that wished, well, I wished I could repeat the same day and learn the lesson before I had to repeat on. And then I realized, we kind of do repeat the lessons. We repeat the mistake over and over again until we get the lesson.
Right.
I mean, this is just, and that was probably long before I was in the self-help industry. All right. I watched that movie, and it was one of the things that gave me lessons for self-help. And that movie was the foundation for me when I was like, okay, finally starting to search my own journey. Years earlier, the movie that I watched that helped me think about my journey to even one day start it was watching Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
Because Back to the Future showed you that the idea of what you do today will matter tomorrow. What your parents did yesterday, it showed the timeline. So you put those two movies together in my life, that's probably the foundation of why I had an aspiration to be in the self-help industry, not because I wanted to be the self-help guru. No, because I wanted to literally start by helping myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to take those lessons. It's, otherwise it's insanity. We're going through the same things.
Mm-hmm.
And life will always throw curves at us, always.
Yeah.
I mean, there was somebody that posted, dear January, it was day 14. It's like, I think I'm done with my trial. Can I return? Finishing my subscription. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But it is part of life. It is part of what we need to overcome, and then finding the things that are going to help us overcome all the yuckiness that we continue to see day after day. So what are the things that are going to help us through it? And finding those things.
It's and you think about it, it's those people in life who grow. January is always the month, the things we're going to do.
Right.
All right. And it's usually about mid-January that we get knocked down on we get knocked back down under our butts again to understand, okay, we hit the year with the great enthusiasm of how we were going to make this year better. But guess what? We carried our old self from the last year into the new year. And February is about the time that we go, okay, the habits I had last year, I still have them. So if I'm going to change and reach the goals I want to reach in this new year, I better change the habits I had last year. And this is usually, for me, it's always February, March is always the turning table for me in each year. January is always a stagnant month for me. It is always that month that I don't set the high aspirations and go, hey, I'm going to hit the ground running and smack up against the wall. I've learned that over the years to go, okay, let's reevaluate last year. Let's reevaluate the goals. Let's try some things to see where we think we can go this year.
Right.
I don't ever sit there in stone. And I used to, many years ago, I used to write my goals and write out my year plan the week before.
Okay.
On New Year's Day. I don't no more. I don't. I write down some things I want to do in the new year. And I don't sit there and define it out with goals. And I know as a self-help guy, I'm not here teaching you how to do goals because I don't. I do it totally different than anybody. I don't write goals down. I write visions down. And I make habits to come up with a vision. I don't write goals down unless I'm willing to change the habits to get them.
Right. I usually work on my next year in November during my busiest time of year. That's when and so I have I was just talking to somebody about it earlier today. I have my stuff here. I have my one thing planner. And then I have my action guide because I love paper. I do as much as digital world. I love my paper.
I still write things on
Post-its. Oh yeah, I love my Post-its. But the first thing that I did this year was I wrote down where am I going to go on vacation? What are the high level things? What are my date night things that I'm dating myself once a month? So I put it down. Those were things that I'm like, okay, I booked this, and this. So I did that. And then I'm like, I left it alone. I said, okay, January is always a cleanup month for me. And so January, I knew it's like, I'm not going to get much done in January because it's just cleaning up for the end of year. But then it's, okay, now I'm going to start my next thing. What is it that in February, now that we're in February, what are the things that I'm going to focus on? And then focus my habits on 66 days of habits. What's the one thing I'm going to do every day? Personally and in business, every day. And then I could just check it off and check it off. Have I done it? I can do my priorities because it's about priorities that go over here. And then, I have a comedy show. I have a race. I have this. Okay. I'm doing a major presentation, and so those are things that are here. My races are on here. My musicals are on here. If I'm going to be at a conference, it's on here, and so I have all those things that I'm putting on here because those are important. So that's, and then I will do everything around it. What are the things that I'm going to focus on this year? So that's kind of the way that I do my goals a little, kind of every month will fall in line with the things that I'm doing every week that will fall in line with my yearly goal. But January is always cleanup month. That's the month that I'm not putting major things to do because it's not realistic. And all I'm going to do is fail. And if I know I'm going to fail, then I'm starting off just already failing. And it's like, well, then why bother? So I know that it's not January. January's cleanup month, and we go from there. So hopefully all you will also look at what are the positive things that you did in 2024 and how can you bring those positives into 2025, like listening to this podcast. I think this is a great habit to have, is listening to the podcast, learn about pairing food and drinks together, join us every week. And even if it's not live, after the fact, the recordings, but then also in your life, in your business, what are the things that are going to help you be successful this year and end the year, even though there's crazy things that'll happen throughout the year. We know this. It's how can you reach those goals or those habits? It's really about the habits. Doesn't matter what your goals are. If you don't put together your habits, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm in this year, I'm going to finish the book and program that I've had out there, and I've kind of always kept from putting it out there because I know the title I have for it is a title that pisses off a lot of coaches. And that is the title of the book that I want to call it is You Don't Need a Life Coach, How to Fix Your Own Damn Life in 90 Days. And that's literally what I've been wanting to call it for 6 years. And I put it off because every coach in the world goes, no, don't tell people that, because they're trying to sell coaching. Anyway, but it's not a book. It's not a book about telling you don't need a coach. It's about telling you what you need to work with a coach, because most people don't know that. And it's funny because one of the things in there, things like day 3, and it's funny today's the 3rd day of February. Day 3, we had our mastermind call with Craig this morning, and Craig talked about how he did something over the weekend that made him feel so much better at his house. And I said, you're getting rid of the petty annoyances. That is like day 3 for us. We start telling people, start getting rid of the petty annoyances. And that's what January is. Start clearing out your petty annoyances. All right. It's like I've cleaned my desk. All right. One of the things I do is I'm dealing with lighting issues in my office. I bought another light. If I do this with the light, it lights the desk finally, right? I moved the stuff around. If you notice, I'm going to have my new emblem coming up there for my other podcast. It's going to be up on the wall there. But I took the shelf down behind me. And, of course, I removed all the Dallas Mavericks stuff off of there because I'm pissed off for them trading freaking Luka. Not going to say how much. That's it. Like I said this morning, I'm done with sports. The last sports thing I cared about is gone. Luka's now in LA, and he's not in Dallas. I don't care about sports anymore. Anyway. But I started clearing out things, and now today I'm looking at, okay, because I'm going to rearrange the office. I need a bigger desk.
Okay.
I'm starting to look at. I can get a new tabletop on top of the frame I have, and make it. It's like these are the petty annoyances that are keeping me. But we talked about this on our call this morning. Craig says, "Man, I felt like a new energy because I did that." And I said, "Yeah, once you start doing things in the process of cleaning up life, you will find that day by day you get more energy." The petty annoyances are an energy. All right. Cleaning up clutter. Clutter is an energy drain.
Oh, believe me, I had my intern during the summer. It took her 3 months to get rid of all the accumulated mail that I had. And most of it was junk mail. But the thing is, I don't just toss it because I want to get rid of my name and address. And so I don't just toss it. I mean, I could easily toss it, but no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw it in recycle because, again, my information's out there. So I have to remove. So she took every day that she was here in the office, half an hour was shredding and getting rid of things. I don't remember. I think it was 3 garbage bags, the black ones, filled them out, after everything was shredded. And I felt so much lighter because I felt like it was weighing me down. And I still have more to do, but that was like one of the biggest things. And now I've been trying to maintain. Now my stack is only about this big and I'm trying to keep it at small. Yeah. I've been using my shredder. And so this year, there's my shredder right there. 3 times this year already, I have dumped it out because I'm consistently using it. But it's a home shredder, so it only deals with about half hour worth of and then it says
I got a high powered shredder this time. All right. But the shredder I want, watch the TV show How I Met Your Mother, Barney's shredder. That's the shredder I want. Zoom, zoom. That's the one I want, baby. That's like the Tim Allen. Oh, got power. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
I'll have to look it up. Maybe that's what I need.
Well, I can't find one. But anyway, no, I do the shredder. But like I take the bends out. That's what I use to start fires now. Not today because it's like 100. It feels like 100 degrees here in Texas. But and cold winter nights,
it's like
the fireplace real quick.
Yesterday I think it was a high of 44. Today it is 37 right now. It was a low of 33 with a high of 41. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll get down to 30 degrees is where it'll get down to 30 degrees. Tomorrow, low of 29, high of 42.
It's not the shredder you want. It's the shredder you need.
Thank you, Robert. Yes. Sometimes what we need is a good cocktail.
Yeah.
In a cool mug.
So, yeah, of course. Wait a minute. We chose the hot drink tonight, and it's hot in Texas.
And it's cold here. With 37 degrees, I will take this morning. I was freezing cold. I was wrapped up in my legs, my back. I was like going, oh my goodness, it's so cold in here. The owner came on. He saw, can I up it's cold in here. And it was colder outside because somebody came into the door. I opened it. The cold air came in and I was like, okay, lady, what do you want? Because it's cold out there. It was cold today. Yeah. It's supposed to snow by Friday.
Good for you. I think we'll get a cold day or two in there, but no. I'll survive it. It's just of all days that I had to make a hot drink, it was warm.
Well, you could have made the cold drink. Nobody would have. It would have been just the opposite.
I was trying to stay consistent with what the groundhog told us. Now, let's face it, the groundhog that told us that it was in Pennsylvania,
not Texas.
The Texas groundhog would just say, "Dude, go do what you want. Screw this. I'm not going to predict the weather. It'll change in 2 seconds."
Yeah, when I messaged because I was going to be late, I was like, I'm not going to be able to drop off the stuff because I had an item for dinner. I said, I'm not going to be able to drop it off before. It'll have to be after. It's like, I said, I'm being delayed because of snow. And it was like big letters, snow, question mark. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm coming down from the mountain. And I took a picture because I had already taken a picture of snowing, traffic stop. And it's like, where are you at? And it's like, oh, and I said where I was at. And she's like, oh my goodness, be safe. I'm like, we had already taken off the chains off the car. We had to put it back on. It took almost 3 hours. It's crazy. Well, the thing is here in the Wilsonville area, hail came down, like it just poured down hail at almost 4 o'clock and then it stopped. So they got the weather here was just different. And then once we got to a certain area, then it cleared off. There's still snow, but the street was cleared. So we were able to get the chains off, and it was like, wow. And I'm like, you know what? We got to be safe. We're going to get home. I'd rather get home late than not get home at all. So it is fine. And when they saw me, they're like, oh my goodness, you made it. I was so worried. And of course, then at that point, everybody knew that I had been up in the mountain that day. And I was like, thank you for looking after me. Thank you for thinking of me. But they were just concerned. It's like going, oh my goodness, is she going to make it down the mountain? We had the appropriate weather tires plus the chains, plus we were going slow. You know, it was, yeah, it's Oregon weather. It's like we weren't expecting this till 5. And then it's like Oregon weather. I'm like, yes, I should know this, but I know what to expect in the city. I don't know what to expect in the mountain. And in the mountain, when you get weather, it's bad. I mean, it's you can't move. Whereas down here, it just gets ugly and you're just having to deal with rain. But when you're having to deal with snow and ice, that's a little bit more challenging, which doesn't happen as often in the city. So
anyway, it's been a fun show. All right. Oh, you know, one of the things I was going to bring up in the show, because we talked a little bit about self-help is one of the things I started this year was a newsletter for starting over. Right. Kind of, if you want that, go to timgillette.com/newsletter and you can sign up for it free of charge as part of our starting over thing for this year. So go check that out if you're interested. If you're not, hey, it's okay. But it's just a newsletter that's helping you start over.
I love it.
So we're going to talk to you about our Insiders Club tonight. So Insiders Club, ladies and gentlemen, is a club that we have that you can join. You can do things with us. All right. Get on our newsletter list, get on our information list, as well as do some fun things with us that are outside the show. All right. It's our little community of people. You must be 21 to join. It is free to join, but you must be 21 to join. Go to likethewayyoudrink.com and there's a button there that says join the Insiders Club. You expecting me to lead the whole show? Come on.
Well, yes. I did a whole the Punxsutawney.
Yeah, you know. I know. It's like this is what the fun thing about the show is really neither one of us are the leader of the show, and we're both waiting for the other to lead the show. Is what it is.
We lead in different ways.
Yeah, we do. So, any special shout outs today?
Yes, to Jose, my buddy over at Boston. Thank you so much. And Boston's actually hosted our run group, the Wilsonville Pub Run Group on Wednesday. That was the traveling pub. Usually we're at Vanguard Groom, but this time we were at Boston's. That was a lot of fun. They took care of us. And then Jose took care of my Philly sandwich that is now gone. I inhaled it. It was delicious. So thank you, Jose, for taking care of me. And those are the shout outs I have for right now.
Cool. All right. Well, that being said, our show is sponsored to you every week, ladies and gentlemen. The bills get paid around here because Gladys and I's businesses pay the bills. All right. While we love what we do, all right, this is a place for us to actually market our businesses. So let's start with Gladys. Gladys, tell us a little about your business.
So Gladys Botwell, Insurance by Design. I help employers become employer of choice through providing employee benefits because there's 101 different ways that you can provide benefits to your staff. What are they? There are all sorts of levels of amount that you would be spending for free to a lot of money. What is your budget? What are you trying to accomplish? And how do you want to show your staff that you care about them? Because if they know you care, that's what's important. They're not going to remember what you did, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. So make sure you take care of your staff because they are the ones taking care of your clients. Gladys Botwell, Insurance by Design. Go to Insurance Design Pros to get the white paper on the upper left. Or if you want to schedule an appointment with me, go to enrollnoworegon.com, and that's my calendar. Schedule some time. We'll have the conversation. And this is my co-host.
All right, guys, my name is Tim Gillette. Simple Easy Websites and Simple Easy Marketing is my business. We help people online, all right, get, the coaching side of it, we help people get their online things straight, get their life straight, and make it work the life they want. But we started a website business to design your website for you, maintain it for you, and keep it going for you at all times. So you want to find out more about the websites, or you want to find out more about me, go to simpleeasywebsites.com, book a consultation. We'll be glad to talk about your situation and what is best for you. Even if you just need some help figuring out how to fix your website, we'll give you some pointers, tell you what to do to improve it if that's all you got time for right now. Simple, easy websites. Hey, man, I'm keeping the marketing simple and easy. We build the website, you build your dream.
Love it.
That being said, I guess we'll be back next week.
I suppose so, y'all. You're going to have to deal with this again with another delicious recipe that we will be sharing. We'll be posting it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. We will see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.